Hi, I'm back. My hair looks like shit. I've tried to film this 3 times already, and my face is red because I put grapefruit on it. Because according to the internet, every fucking vegetable qualifies as a face mask. And, well, here we are. Let's make a video. Okay, um, so I haven't been around in a while, I haven't made a video in a while, and there's a few things we need to talk about before we get into this week. First of all, Uranus is in Taurus. This is big because Uranus is really slow. It has a 84-year long cycle. So it spends about 7 years in each sign. It's been in Aries since 2011, and now it's in Taurus. It's not permanent yet because it's going to go retrograde, and this winter it's going to be in Aries again for a few months. But after that, in February, it goes back into Taurus, and that's going to be 7 years of Uranus in Taurus. You're not going to feel the changes as strongly as you would feel Mercury transits or Venus, Mars transits. The transits of planets that are closer to the Earth and quicker, you feel them much more immediately. But because this is a really slow cycle, when you look back a few years from now, you're going to realize what was changing, but right now maybe you don't. It's fine. This is going to be, well, globally, this is going to be changes in economy, definitely, the arts, and it's also just like the traditional mindset that we have nowadays, because this is where the Uranus and Aquarius generation, like myself, we're gonna have our Uranus square, which is a really important life phase. It's where you really start where you collectively start changing the world, making an impact around you. Also, yesterday, on the 29th, Mercury went into Gemini. So that's great because Gemini is its home sign, so Mercury is really comfortable there. This is a great moment for learning, communicating, everything that has to do with information. If you're thinking about starting to learn a new skill, a new language, this is a great moment. Also, if you have your finals soon, start studying now, because in 2 weeks, Mercury goes into Cancer, and you're going to be much less focused. Your mind's going to go much slower. Third thing, we have a great trine in water signs. This is amazing. So we've talked about Jupiter and Scorpio, we've talked about Uranus and Neptune and Pisces, and now Venus is in Cancer, and these 3 planets are all trining each other. That's what a great trine is. It basically is a combined aspect where the 3 planets involved have a really good relationship with each other. So it's a blessing. It makes things much easier. We're going to talk about this great trine right now, because actually first big aspect we're having is on the 1st of June. We have a kite. A kite is when there's a great trine, right? So 3 planets trining each other, and then there's a 4th planet that opposes one of them, so it sextiles the other 2. What it means is it's like there was 3 friends who are having a great time, and then a 4th person comes in, and 2 of them are cool with him, but the 3rd one hates him, right? So there's a tension that we need to do something about. And there's 2 planets who are mediators. So here we have Jupiter in Scorpio and Neptune in Pisces, sextiling the moon on June 1st, and trining Venus in Cancer, and Venus in Cancer is opposing the moon in Capricorn. Now, first we need to talk about the great trine. Jupiter has been in Scorpio since October. It's going to be there until November. This is a whole year. And this year we're realizing a lot of stuff in the parts of our life, of our mind, that we don't want to look at. Or maybe you don't have a problem looking at them, but you don't want to show them, right? They're like your secrets. All the ways in which you're psychologically fucked up. All your problems, all the toxicity. there's also great things about Scorpio: purification, um, psychic abilities. There's a lot of stuff here. So this year Jupiter is there in Scorpio, and it's magnifying that, and that means that we're either letting go or getting much deeper into self-destructive behaviors, right? Also, Neptune in Pisces. It's been in Pisces since 2012, and it's gonna leave in 2026. So a much slower cycle. This is giving humankind. It's making us more aware, or on the other side, if you're using the energy wrong, much more dependent and absent, right? It's social media, phones. You know, these people who have their face stuck in the phone the whole day. So this is Jupiter and Neptune. They're the mediators, right? When they're trining, we have a sense of peace. We are noticing all the changes, all the things that are coming up that we need to change, all the destructiveness, the self-destructiveness, and we're putting peace there. We're making it okay. We're finding the way. There's a lot of things happening by themselves, good things and bad things. It depends on how you're carrying the transit, right? So if things happen and instead of taking the chance to do the right thing that's good for you, you do what's bad for you, that's where, you know, it kind of goes down. Then we have Venus in Cancer. Venus in Cancer is trining both Jupiter and Neptune, right? So it's making us very at ease, very comfortable with all of this emotional transformation. So if you're being constructive in your life, this is great, because it's kind of making you, it's forcing you to make peace with yourself, with whatever areas of your life these planets are affecting, which you would have to see your chart to know which areas. You would have to see the houses these planets fall in. I'm going to make videos about houses very soon. So yeah, Venus is either making you feel very at peace with all of that and very blessed, or it's making you feel too comfortable with self-destructive behaviors that you're not stopping. So the moon's going to be in Capricorn, right? The moon spends 2.5 days in each sign, and first it's going to conjunct Saturn and then Pluto, and then it's going to oppose Venus in the middle, right? So we have the exact kite, and then a few hours before that there's the moon conjuncting Saturn, and a few hours after the kite the moon conjuncts Pluto. Also, the same day, June 1st, is the exact Venus-Jupiter trine and the exact Venus-Neptune trine. So it's a very exact kite. It's very tight. It's very intense. When the moon conjuncts Saturn, Saturn's been in Capricorn since December, right? And you've probably noticed that by now, but life is asking you to be very responsible. It's asking for integrity. When the moon is in Capricorn, we feel like we're not going to be okay if we don't do the right thing. And conjuncting Saturn, which rules Capricorn, even more so. So you're going to connect a lot. You're going to be feeling emotionally this need to be more wholesome and do things right. Then the moon's going to oppose Venus. And this can be, Venus loves oppositions, right? Because she rules Libra, and she loves to see both sides, right? All the sides she can. So an opposition is great for Venus, because an opposition is the greatest difference you can have. And Venus learns a lot from that. Venus in Cancer is feeling very comfortable, but she's also a little blind, right? In her bubble, she doesn't see outside of that. So with the moon in Capricorn, if you're doing things right for you, if you're doing what life is asking you to do, and everything is kind of on average constructive and growing in your life, you're gonna have a moment to see what you need to polish. And this is amazing. If you're being self-destructive, then this is gonna be, you're gonna have a minute to realize what's wrong. You're gonna get out of your bubble, get out of your comfort zone by force, and see what's not okay. And then the moon conjuncts Pluto, and this is the moment where we feel how we can change that, right? How we can change all the toxicity. And when we're going to change that, that's a little bit after that, we're going to talk about it. On the same day, we have the Mercury-Mars trine on June 1st. I haven't made videos in a while, so I haven't told you, but Mars is now in Aquarius. Mars in Aquarius, well, Mars is action, right? It's how you do things. So Mars in Aquarius, it needs to do several things at the same time, right? You need to be doing more than one thing in your life right now, or else you're gonna feel bored, you're gonna feel just unfulfilled, and even there might be some apathy, because it's not going to keep you going if you don't have different stuff to switch back and forth. You can also be detached with Mars in Aquarius, because everyone's minding their own business, but you have to be very fair in your actions, because if you don't do that, people are going to notice, and they're not going to be okay with it, and they're going to call you out, and you're going to have trouble. So, Mercury is in Gemini, right? And we're having a lot of ideas. We are seeing things more objectively, and we're having ideas about what to do, what to start, what to change. This is amazing. So when Mercury trines Mars, this is a great moment to start doing whatever you're seeing now that you can do. It's really exciting. It's an air signs, right? So this is it's not emotional, it's intellectual. It's something that excites you intellectually. Or maybe something that you can now see clearly. Because in Gemini, you can have a lot of doubts, but you see everything clearly, right? So on the 3rd of June, we have another really interesting thing, which also involves Mars. Mars is getting pretty close to the South Node. I'm going to make videos on the moon nodes, but the South Node is basically what you already know how to do, what you've always known how to do, right? Things that some people say, if you believe in that, that is what you've learned in past lives. So it's a part of you that you already know your way about, and if you stay there, it's destructive, right? You're not growing, you're not becoming what you could be. So Mars is getting very close to the South Node. The exact conjunction, I think, is going to be on the 6th, but the 3rd is important because the moon is going to be there, right? So it's going to conjunct first Mars and a little bit later the South Node. So we're going to feel how we can act, what we can do to get outside of this comfort zone that's very destructive. And then when Mars conjuncts the South Node on the 6th of June, I think it is, that's the moment when we can start doing whatever it is that we have to do. Then on the 5th, and especially the 6th of June, we have two really interesting other aspects happening. So first of all, we've talked about Venus and Pluto and what these two planets are doing, right? So on the 6th, they're opposing. Venus is at the tip of the kite we have on the 1st, right? So again, it's a feeling of comfort and bliss, but you're also in a bubble. So I said when the moon conjuncts Pluto, we're going to see how we need to change things to be better. With the Venus-Pluto opposition, this is the moment. This is where we're going to be forced out of this comfort, and we're going to feel like we really need to change, to cut out toxic stuff that we've gotten comfortable with. Maybe it's relationships, people, or I don't know, some kind of substance abuse. Maybe you're binge eating, whatever it is in your life that's comforting but not in a good way. This is the moment to cut it out. And the other really big, really interesting thing that's happening on the 5th and especially the 6th of June is we're having the moon conjuncting Neptune in Pisces, the sun conjuncts Mercury in Gemini, and then these two couples are squaring. Sun Mercury is quincunxing Jupiter in Scorpio, and the moon and Neptune are trining Jupiter in Scorpio. So what's really important here is Neptune rules Pisces and Mercury rules Gemini, right? So this is the sun and the moon squaring and conjuncting the planets that rule the signs they're in while they're aspecting Jupiter. This is great because it's square, right? So it's different stuff. But squares are very good for you because they present challenges, right? A trine is easy, a sextile is easy, a square is not easy, but it doesn't mean you can turn it into a really, really, really good thing. The sun and Mercury conjuncting in Gemini, that's a moment where the mind peaks completely, right? Because Mercury is at home and it's on top of the sun, so it's extra light, extra energy. You can do anything with your brain. You have all the power. And it's also where you identify spiritually a lot with all this eurekas and intellectual breakthroughs. Then the moon with Neptune, that's a moment of peak intuition, peak understanding of what's beyond, of the things that you can't measure. Gemini and Mercury, they're archetypes of knowledge, but they're concrete knowledge, exact knowledge. It's numbers, whatever you can measure up and classify. Mercury also rules Virgo. And then Neptune is the understanding that doesn't need numbers. It's also much deeper. It's understanding life, understanding how it all works together. It's, maybe a little bit psychic. So we're gonna be having a peak understanding into very different ways, right? This can be conflicting, but you can make these two archetypes work together. And the key here is Jupiter and Scorpio. So Jupiter is going to be trining Neptune and the moon. That's great. Jupiter is understanding perfectly these planets, and then it's quincunxing the sun and Mercury. A quincunx is a little bit harder. It's a little bit more complicated. There's no common ground in a quincunx, right? So Scorpio and Gemini, the signs where the quincunx is happening, there's no common element, there's no common triplicity, nothing. but it can be fixed. So this is, again, a moment where you have the analytic, exact brain at peak, and you're feeling it in your soul, and you have a psychic peak, and you're feeling it in your intuition. So you have an understanding of whatever's going on in your life in two very different ways, which can be very, very, very enriching. And then these 4 planets connect to Jupiter and Scorpio, which is the planet that's making all these changes, all this cleansing or destruction happen in your life. So this is potentially a moment where you can realize how to fix a lot of problems, a lot of things that you do that you don't like, a lot of problems that you have since childhood. It's amazing. It's beautiful. We're gonna have an interesting week. So that was it. I hope I helped you. Good luck. As you can see, this is what I'm talking about in all my videos. This is a moment where you really need to cut toxicity out of your life and be very truthful to yourself. You can't lie to yourself anymore. It's just not acceptable. It's not going to help you. Saturn's not in Sagittarius anymore. This is also not a moment where you can postpone things, procrastinate on the things that really make you happy, on responsibilities. You have to be really responsible and just coherent with yourself and what you want from life. And that's it. If this helped you, if you like it, show it to someone that you think can use this too. And we have an Instagram and a Twitter, so if you want updates, they're there. I don't have the Twitter app on my phone, so I'm not gonna be as active on Twitter as on Instagram, but on Instagram I've been posting things every day on the stories. We've talked a little bit about the full moon and how we could deal with it. So the transits that are happening every day, I'm gonna kind of update to try to help you out. So make that social blade green. Subscribe, follow me. Have a great week. See you around. Hope everything goes fine.